Hello and welcome to my One Chunk at a Time Iron Man series. Join me as I try to take on my own variation of the Chunkman account. This is 1Chunksara. And for this series, we will be deviating slightly from the traditional starting point of Lumbridge, and instead starting, as you can see, in Barbarian Village. We'll be following the original rule set, as set out by Puka Guy, also known as Alex Bailey, which was followed up and extended upon by Slay Brother. There will be a few minor changes that I've made, but I will get to those shortly. The rules for this series will be as follows. We must complete every available skilling challenge in a chunk to the lowest level. For example, oak logs with access to a knife will be fletched into arrow shafts and are not required to be fletched into an unstrung longbow. Rule 2. We must acquire all best in slot upgrades in a chunk. Drops from bosses and monsters that are above my current available equipment will have exceptions on a case-by-case basis. I'm sorry, but my name is 1Chunksara, not Limpwort, and I would like to keep my sanity intact. Disclaimer, this is to prevent me from using my already extremely limited time trying to do an absurd grind which will make this series ultimately less enjoyable for not only myself, but for you, the viewer, as well. I'm doing this for both of our sakes, not out of selfish laziness. Rule number 3. I will not be backlogging skilling challenges as long as I have a primary method of training said skill that is, shall we say, feasible. For example, if my only two rocks I have available are a copper ore and an adamant ore, I will not be mining copper ore all the way to level 70 mining. That's just not realistic for the amount of time I have available to me as a person. And once again, to prevent this from taking an absurdly long time and being extremely boring for everyone involved, I will not be doing that. For our additional rules, these may be extended upon as I get further input from the viewer. Number 1, I will be allowing the use of the canoe system and the charter ships for unlocking chunks as long as I have a method of travel to return to the original chunk without traveling through any unopened chunks. For example, I cannot use the canoe system to travel to the wilderness pond area as there is no way to get back without walking through the locked chunks. Rule number 2. I will not be juggling clue scrolls. However, every clue scroll that I get must be attempted if I have access to at least 2 possible steps. For example, in the Barbarian Village, we have only access to 1 beginner clue step. However, 1 chunk east of me is Gertrude, which is a second beginner step. If I get the second chunk with a second step, I must attempt all beginner clue drops I get, so long as the first step is one that I have access to. Rule number 3, access to Puro Puro will not force a skilling challenge to catch a lucky impling. Instead, for each hunter training area I unlock, I must progress my hunter level to the level required for the next impling. For example, if I have 17 hunter for baby implings and the next chunk I unlock gives me access to a training area, I will then have to level my hunter to 22 for young implings. And this will continue on until such time as we have maxed out hunter. The goals for this account. At the moment, I want to obtain a fire cape, as the last time and the only time I've ever obtained one, I did it with Blood Barrage exclusively, which I think is a bit cheaty, and I'd like to try and do better. Secondly, I want to obtain the Quest Cape on this account. This is a long-term goal, as the Quest Cape is going to require access to a vast majority of the world. And finally, I want to obtain at least 1 pet on this account before the end. Now that's the goals for the account. The goal for myself as a person, I want to get better at this game in general. All aspects of it. I want to be better. I've been playing casually for almost 15 years now, if memory is correct. and I generally just want to get better. I've always been a casual player. I want to be playing at a higher tier by the time this is done. But more specifically, I want to get better at bossing. The only bosses I'm currently have any experience doing is Vorkath, Barrows, and the Mole. Ideally, by the end of this, I can take on some of the more harder challenges available. Now, before we begin, I want to give a special shout out to Alex Bailey for setting the Iron Man phenomenon into motion. And secondly, I want to give shout outs to Slay Brother, Limpert, Verf, LSD Broski, BuzzRS, Frosty Bard, and any other Chunkman content creator I may have missed for keeping the Chunkman mode alive. Also, to mention, the first 2 minutes of this video will be a level montage, as I did not start recording until nearly the end of this chunk. Also, this entire video will be done with voiceover due to me getting a much better mic since I started recording. Thank you. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the series. Here's level 47 woodcutting. Quick shout out to this guy here. He's the one that finally gave me the motivation to push me over the edge to decide to make my own series. So thank you. Missing a level again like a true professional. Here's 48 woodcutting. And again, here's 49. Quick shout out to F2P Chunky, doing the exact same chunk start as I am with the Barbarian Village. She's actually the motivation behind this specific start. If you see her in game, give her good luck. She definitely deserves it. With that last woodcutting level giving us 57, we can now cut our Waka canoe, giving us access not only to a couple of extra chunks if we end up rolling them, but also a pretty easy travel method to the north and south of us. Now this is all done currently in post-processing, as I forgot to record the stream where I actually did my chunk roll. So I will very quickly be giving a brief overview of what has transpired since then and let you know what's going on. Let's just open our chunk picker right here quick. So as you can see, I now have 5 chunks available. I'll go over them quickly. Our first roll, Drain Our Manor. was done, again, like I said, on stream. We do not have access to anything in this chunk at the moment. The trees right here across the bottom line, that actually prevent us from getting into the manor itself, meaning this is dead content to us. This chunk to the west gives us, was our second chunk that we opened. However, although it gives us access to the Dwarven Mine, it does not give us access to the Dwarven Mine because the access is actually up here near the monastery. This effectively backlogs 92 mining for amethyst, as well as, I believe, 83 crafting for amethyst bolt tips, I think, among a few other things. Third roll was West Varrock. If I happen to be able to find the clips from my thieving levels, I will insert them right here. However, if I did not remember to record them, or if I can't seem to get my hands on them, we will simply pick up right here. Now, after we got 40 thieving, that was the end of this chunk for us. So we went and rolled another one, once again, on stream. And we got the unlucky roll of Edgeville. Now, Edgeville is a bit of an enigma, because this is going to lock us into some pretty horrendous grinds. First of all, Edgeville Dungeon has an adamant ore rock. It also has some silver and iron, so it won't be too bad. But I have to get 70 mining and 70 smithing with copper, tin, iron, and silver. We'll get it done, though. We got this. Second of all, we have the traditional 60 wood cutting, 60 fire making, and 60 fletching grind because of the 2 yew trees right here. Once again, kind of sucks, but you know what? We'll get through this together. Also, we now have access to a chisel, so we can get some additional teleports to the Barbarian Village. Nice quick little way to get back there. Once again, I'm doing this after I've already started this Edgeville chunk, so I know already what's going to happen, and if I spoil anything, I do apologize, but we will be seeing this in the next video. I don't know when that will be, but it will be out eventually. Just bear with me. This is a very time-consuming chunk, and I do not have a ton of time on my hands. I'm doing this as I can. Moving on. We also have access to a viable food source, which means cooking can now be leveled up. And we need to get level 35 cooking because we can get into the cooking guild here and we can cook a wine. I'm really looking forward to having some wine with y'all. I really am. That also means we might have access to pies, which will be a pretty decent food source early on. We'll get to that soon. The most important part to remember about Edgeville: hill giants and Obor. Now, at the start of this video, I said there's going to be, likely, a rule imposed for bosses. This is going to be the first iteration of that rule. Given the access to the resources that we have available to us, I will not be able to kill Obor reliably, repeatedly, enough to get Obor's club. It's not feasible for me, and it's currently not something I am able to do without prayer. So, that being said, I am going to make, with the assistance of my Twitch chat, I have made an exception to Obor. I will backlog the Hill Giant Club until I have access to 2 things: a monastery to recharge my prayer, and a realistic access to runes. Now, the most likely source of that is going to be Aubrey's rune shop down here. In place of that grind, what I am instead going to do is impose myself 2 additional restrictions before I can roll the next chunk. And those restrictions are as follows. First of all, I need to bank 118 giant keys, because that is the drop rate of Obor's club. In addition, I must get 1 kill count on Obor. I must kill him 1 time. If I do that and I get the keys, we will consider the Obor grind backlogged. And once again, upon access to a monastery and a rune shop, we will come back, we will get the Hill Giant Club, and we will move on from there. Some of our additional tasks, or more minor tasks, is the Black Demon in the wilderness area of the Edgeville dungeon. That will give us a rune medhelm and a rune chain body. Both of those are best in slots. That will be a bit of a tough task. Once again, we'll get it done. It's all right. Also, another task, because we have access to runite armor, I'll need 40 defense. I'm going to get that because my plan to take breaks between mining sessions and woodcutting sessions, I'm going to be doing roughly 1,000 kills on some of the various creatures I have access to. Most notably men, dwarves, and minotaurs, among others, for a few reasons. One, that will get us access to a bunch of additional ores and bars, which will hopefully slightly cut down on the time I'm going to have to spend mining past 70. In addition, beginner clues. As I said in my rules before, I will not be juggling beginner clues. However, I will be attempting all of them that I can. Ideally, with this grind completed, I can have 7 or 8 beginner clues opened in that time. Hopefully get my hands on a black pickaxe. That will significantly increase the speed of my mining and really increase my XP per hour. So, with that said, this is where I currently am at now, is in Edgeville. Feel free to come check me out, see what I'm up to, say hi. But for now, we're going to end this video. I will see you in the next episode. In that episode, we will probably be rolling the next chunk. If I'm able to progress a little bit quicker than I expect, maybe I'll have a 0.5 episode in between just to satiate your curiosity. But for now, we're going to end this video. I'm going to leave my links to my Twitch as well as my Discord in the description below. Check us out if you want updates on when I'm going to be streaming. Discord is the place to find it. By all means, leave some comments in the comment section of this video, or message me on Discord directly if you have questions, concerns, criticism, whatever you like. Give me a shout. There's not many of you yet, but I will do my best to answer everyone as best I can. And like I said, have a good day. Come say hi in Edgeville. I'm probably going to get lonely.